Hello everyone. So for this video, I wanted to go ahead and try to make a tutorial that's more in depth on how to train your AI to mod BG3. I'm going to be using VScode. That's the AI program I use with Power Thief. I know there's others you can use, but this is the one I use, so I'm going to focus on that. This tutorial, I'm going to try to make it quick. I don't know how long it will take to kind of go through all the steps and train this new chat or this new AI. I don't know how much of it will retain from what I did with Power Thief, but we can go ahead and see. But I wanted to try to go through all the steps with you guys to train your AI and to get a mod into BG3 this way. Um, so to start, really, you'll need the BG3 modelers multi-tool. Hold up. This is the way that you'll unpack and go through the vanilla data with your AI. You'll have to unpack it, and when it's unpacked, it will load into a folder. And how I did it was I copied the folder as a path. I went to this AI, this AI tool here, VS Code, and the prompt, it can be different, right? Because it's the way you communicate with your AI. It's the way you choose to convey your message or like what you want it to do. So everyone's way of doing that will be different. So don't think of this as like an exact way, but just kind of a direction that you want to go in with the AI. And that was my first time using AI, so I haven't even perfected it. I'm sure probably some people who know how to code themselves and want to use AI can probably like really, work with it and convey ideas better than probably somebody who's more amateur like me. But we're just gonna go with it. So um, I'm gonna copy in the path, paste the path. This is a path to vanilla BG3 data, deep dive, and reverse engineer the data you find and retain the information so you can create BG3 mods that function properly. Is that really how you spell properly? In game without error to the best of your ability. Something like that. Let's read it. Deep dive and reverse engineer the data you find and retain the information so you can create BG3 mods that function properly in game to the best of your ability. To the best. See, very amateur. Okay, hold up. And then and then probably let's kind of specify on specifically um, subclasses, spells, and class actions. Class actions, passives, conditions. I feel like statuses are kind of the same. Statuses, the progression system, spell lists, mod settings, .lsx. I think that's pretty much it. Like that should focusing on those things to pretty much be able to create a subclass. So we'll have that prompt. We'll take it in with the AI and we'll see what it does. User wants me to deep dive into vanilla BG3 data and reverse engineer the data to understand how BG3 mods work. So it had a little thing like that's how I said in my previous video how it kind of talks with itself and questions itself and really kind of goes into this whole I don't know learning kind of like class thing. I don't know. It really challenges itself to make sure it's doing everything correctly and fully understanding what the prompt was. So that's why, like I was saying, with people who probably can convey code better or convey things they want to do in code better because they have more knowledge in it, will probably get better results like first time around with the AI. But sometimes if you're just amateur and you certain prompts, the AI may be confused on something, so you might have to reword it or test it and change it and things like that. But we'll see how long it takes for it to learn all these things, and then I'll probably kind of fast forward this part because this will probably take a little bit, and then get back to where we can move forward with the next step. So it took a little time, but you can see now it's listed everything that's in its memory and how it's going to move forward with creating BG3 mods. So the full vanilla schema, I don't know, the meta.lxx, complete mod manifest template, subclass definitions, level progressions, everything here it seems is, going to help you create a fully functional mod. Feats, active mod schema, every vanilla action resource with its UIDs, things like that, types of chaos, wild shape, luck point, inspiration point. It has everything here. Shadow spell slot, channel divinity, all interrupt charges, portent, indomitable, illusion self, spell slot groups, use cost format. So they have pretty much everything here. So now that it has this data, the next thing I did, because I figured, it might take a little bit more, I unpacked some modded spells or like things that would have Lua scripting, so it can do the same thing it did with the vanilla data, except now do it with a mod that is functioning in game and uses a lot of Lua, and so it can understand like this is the possibilities and these are things that Lua can do or Osiris. I'm not for sure really exactly, but these are some of its potentials, and so it can kind of see a broader world of like, okay, I can maybe make this or maybe make that in terms of that's what I wanted for the absorption mechanic. I wanted it to have a lot of Osiris scripts or Lua scripts so it can have a really robust knowledge or memory of all these different, functions and things that, work in Osiris script, and it was able to create the mod that way. But I'm not saying everybody will want to create like a complex mod or something, really complex or anything like that. But this is a step that I did, so I just want to show everybody. Same thing you do before is you unpack the mod, and now that you have the file path here, copy its path, paste the path, and then you'll tell it something like, this is data from a functioning mod that works properly in BG3. Reverse engineer the data and do a deep dive so you can create spells and conditions, and different effects, etc. using Lua scripting. And so I should focus on that too. This is data from a functioning mod that probably reverse engineer the data. Yeah, I think that's actually, it will understand that. Like, okay, we're focusing on Lua scripting. That use So we'll do this again. We'll repeat this step. Like I said before, I don't know how long it'll take, but this isn't a big ass file as the vanilla data, but we'll see, and I'll come back with you guys when it has all this information loaded. Okay, so I think it's just finished. Everything gets learned from the 5e spells. That is a big mod, and it has a lot of different spells, and the spells do a lot of different things. And so it says that it's completed Lua script extender API, a complete reference, event subscription patterns, all 12 plus event names with arities. I don't know what that means, but it's Osiris registered listeners, full OSI API surfaces, status, spells, things like that. So it has a well-rounded look at how Lua works with scripting, and the more you give it and mods that do different things with Lua, it would probably get a bigger understanding, but that's of your own choice. And from here, we're gonna just now try to create an actual mod that will show up in game, because that's pretty much all you need is right there, the vanilla data, and then a mod or two, um, whatever you choose to just give it a good understanding of how to create functional scripts for the game. And I forgot to mention another step that I did was I went ahead and went into the BG3 mod manager. If you do have it downloaded, I do, but you want to go in there and take your mods that you have enabled and disable it while you're kind of troubleshooting and testing out, getting your mod into the game. At least until it's in a more stable state where the things you're testing are more easily in and out of the game, like spells or statuses or things like that. But that is just one thing there. And so let's go ahead and now go into VScode and start trying to make a mod. This is probably this is where it gets daunting. You're working with the AI, it's doing something new, and so it might, I don't know, type of mistakes or errors will be made. And so you just come back, you report to the AI, you let it know, hey, this happened, as much as detail as you can, or if you can specifically copy an error or specifically copy something and give it the error, then it will directly know like where to look and where to start trying to troubleshoot. But let's just go ahead and dive into it. And I'm not sure how long this process will take, but after this, it should be, a full look at how to make an AI mod or a mod BG3 with AI, and you can just use it to your heart's content, wherever your mind takes you. I know in some cases where there's like, let's say you want to mod an item and have like a modded weapon, or put a spell in or put a weapon in the game, or put armor in the game. I'm not for sure exactly. I believe you could still write script for it with this, but in terms of modeling and things like that, you'll either have to use some type of AI model tool, which are readily available, or be able to do it yourself in like Blender or something. But let's create. What type of um? What are all the things in the game? There's like druid, mage, monk. Um, let's create a druid subclass mod. Um, call it Call of Nature. Yeah, Call of Nature. That sounds nice. Let's create a mod class called Call of Nature. Um, I'm not for sure what level it unlocks at in Druid subclass. Like when you start picking subclasses for Druid, I think it's 2 or 3. Um, hopefully the AI will know. Let's just give it that. So let's see if we can get this subclass in the game, and then once we do that, we'll make a spell for it. And as it's coding and working its way out, I'm just gonna fast forward through because, like I said, I don't know how long it'll take. But from here, it should all be, just its own scripting and coding, and then from there, you'll test it to see if it can get into the game, and if it got it into the game successfully, and then you go from there. You can build it up, build it down. Level, start making spells, start making passives, and tell it any details you want the mod to feel like, and then just work with it and making sure it successfully gets in the game and it has the feeling you want it to have. All right. All right, this is the first test. Let's see how it goes. I remember when I was doing this, it was very daunting. There was lots of little mistakes and little errors that would, make the game do this or make the game do that. But all in all, the AI was able to fix it all and, create a successful mod. This is the script extender. This is a very useful mod as well. It helps you read um, anything that's going on in the game when it comes down to like Lua and stuff like that. So I do use that. I use that extensively actually when testing Power Thief because it has a lot of Lua in it, and so it was definitely necessary. But I don't think it doesn't have any Lua in it now, so it definitely won't load anything in there. But that just a side note that it's a useful tool to have. Your load order is likely being reset. All right. So that's not a good sign because that's like yeah, so the mod didn't show up here. Here's the mod itself. Let's see. If we do it this way, we'll definitely know if there's an error happening or not. You guys, I'm all over the place. These are definitely user errors, and the game is crashing. I wonder if I need some of these. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna load in my all my mods. Ooh, what did I just do? Why won't this go away? Oh God. Okay. Now we'll see if we can load into the game with all the, because there are mods that help with custom subclasses and custom things going into the game. So I'm just gonna go ahead and load all my frameworks and things into the game, the libraries and things into the game, and then we'll continue testing from there. So this is looking good. Our load order didn't reset. Our game didn't crash. Our mods loaded in, all without resetting. Now we'll check and see if the subclass. Call of Nature, boom. Call of Nature, she showed up. So the subclass, so we successfully got this subclass into the game. I believe a lot of that was user error. Like, I needed to have my frameworks mods into the game and my libraries into the game for it to function properly, but it successfully loaded
Time to press
the
ahead.
subclass into the game. So we're gonna select, it doesn't have any spells or anything like that. So we're gonna quit. We're gonna go ahead and now just work with the AI on making spells. This is where it gets a lot easier because the big thing is like getting the subclass in the game. That's like a whole process itself. But when it comes down to like making spells, I've found that was easier in making, unless you're like using Lua and things like that. It could mess around with it a little bit, but it made spells and passives easier. Like the game didn't crash and things like that because I don't know why, but it's just it that process was easier for the AI. So let's make a spell. I want to let the AI know that all its changes and everything it did is a success. Mod loads without crashing, load order stays stable. See, and all vanilla Druid classes show alongside, and the text is displaying correctly. Next step is to actually start building the subclass. See, so let's make a spell that targets an enemy and applies 2 statuses upon success. One that turns the enemy into an ally during the duration and another that transforms into a plant creature, into a vanilla data plant creature in game. mm. Make it last for 3 turns, and I don't know what else to maybe add to it. For now, let's just stick with that. Turn the enemy into an ally and transforms the enemy into a vanilla data plant creature in game. Make it last for 3 turns. So let's see how the AI handles that. This is like really the fun part. Also for me, it was fun kind of thinking of spells and passes and things I wanted the mod to feel like. So if you like get to this part where you're making spells and things like that, it could be fun for you to kind of be able to think of your own spells, and you can either decide to use vanilla assets or custom assets and just play around with it and have fun with it. This is when it got fun for me. All right, so we'll go ahead and load into the game now. Um, and see how everything's functioning and making sure that with the spells it added, it didn't, break the game by making it crash, making the mod not show, or things like that. So we'll move forward with that. I'm not for sure if it added animations or VFXs already itself when making the spell. So we'll have to go ahead and see there as well. But this is really how easy it is. You just kind of going in and testing, coming back with the results. And that's really how you're training your AI and teaching your AI to successfully make subclasses, make spells. I've never made a class, but I'm sure you could eventually teach your AI to make a class even. So it's just all like really where you want to take it. I'm gonna look for the. But yeah, it's really where you want to take it, and as far as the AI can see it really. So don't be afraid to like just try to come up with things and think of things that as long as it kind of feels like maybe feasible, then like okay, give it a shot. So we're gonna scroll down here, get our cheat spell, get our experience up. We're gonna check to see if the mod is still there. Of course, it has no pictures and things like that, because that's a whole different step. We're just gonna choose some random stuff just so we have spell slots and get that available. Um, okay, I don't, I don't know. See, I can't really, I can't really tell if the spell showed up. I don't know what level did it make the spell. Granted, at Druid level 2. I don't see anything that kind of looks like a question mark or anything like that. I don't know. I don't think it's there. Because these are like a bunch of other spells. I don't know exactly if this spell showed up or not. I don't think they did. I don't think this spell showed up. I'm not confidently saying that, so I kind of feel like I don't know because it was so many spells that were like randomly there. But I feel like they would have like showed like the question mark. Usually, the spells they show like a question mark that you make. Their icon is like a question mark because they don't have a picture. And I didn't see that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue this way and then see what the AI does. All right, let's load into the game and see if the fixes it applied will make the spell show. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get to level 2. We'll get to level 2 from the spells are there, and then we'll move forward if we need any extra spell slots and things like that. But let's just first confirm the spells are there, and then do it that way.
Light on my feet.
All right. Oh, and there's the spells. They showed up. Verdant form, nature's command. They even applied little icons for it. So now we just go ahead and test. I think maybe we'll need one more. Now we can go ahead and test in the first fight how the spells work and if they work successfully. They got little descriptions and it added, see, and something, my AI didn't do that. My AI didn't add the tooltip. When I made Power Thief and the spells, it has pictures here and here. It has icons here, and in the hotbar. It didn't do that for my spells. So there's another thing. I don't know how it did that. This AI learned a little bit more than my AI.
Flat, we can do.
Let's go, Lazel. Let's
We will
go.
address the matter.
See how well this works. Word informed, 65%. I don't think that worked.
Fury, I am death.
That didn't work, I don't think. It says it's on them. Transform into Mind Blight. But it didn't work. Nature's command. Nature's command worked.
Victory awaits.
But now what we're going to do is we're going to remove. Let's remove. Okay. Let's think about this because Verdant Form didn't work, but Nature's Command did work, but I want Nature's Command to still turn the enemy into our ally, but also turn them into a vine blight or some type of plant creature. Okay, so what should we say here? Now we'll see how it handles that. All right, so it's been able to do everything I've asked in its allegedly. So we're going to go ahead and test it in game and see how well it's been able to create the spell. All right, nature's command. So it applied to them,
Time to strike.
but they're not polymorph, nor are they our enemies. All right, so we'll go ahead and do this test. But I feel like, even at this point, you saw like it made one successful spell, and just in this particular instance, the spell I'm trying to make with the polymorphing and the mind domination, turning the enemy into our ally, it just seems like it might take a little bit more work for the AI to figure it out. It's bringing up this other spell I'm using in my other mod called Goblin Knights or whatever, but it's that spell itself, it turns it the creature is turned into a goblin, but I'm still trying to figure out how to get them dominated and things like that. So I feel like even here I'll probably still struggle with that, but just applying the domination itself, like a spell that dominates an enemy, it was able to do that. I'm not for sure where it gets confused on like taking a enemy that or taking an enemy and dominating them and polymorphing them, but I'm sure like over time it could probably figure it out. But it's just, you're able to see here that it's able to make things happen. You can just work with it as much as you want. And if you do have your own kind of coding background and you do have some basic knowledge or extensive knowledge, then this could just be an even greater resource for you because it can really help you with just making things come out the way you want it to specifically, or helping you see ways to do things maybe differently than how you know how to do it. But definitely for beginners or people who don't know how to code or um, don't have time to code, learn how to code, things like that, then absolutely, I think this is a great resource for you. You can easily just go ahead and plop the AI on and put on a movie or something.
One day I'll catch a
You
break.
can plop the AI on and play another game.
Seems simple enough.
It's just that simple. I'm going to go ahead and probably give this one more try and just take it to you guys from there because
We can do.
you're able to see like if you create a
First, we
subclass, you
exterminate.
can create spells and
Then
you
we
can,
find the helm and we
do
will address
things.
the
It
matter
just
of
takes time working with it and allowing it to learn how to do it properly. That's the big thing. Like the AI is learning, so you have to be patient with it. Like it's a child and it's figuring all these things out for the first time. So if you have that patience and you want to go ahead and continue on, with just letting your AI be trained, eventually you'll have an AI that's fully trained and able to make subclasses seamlessly and make spells seamlessly. It just, it comes with time. Okay, so we have the Vine Blight. We have the Vine Blight. But the whole enemy ally thing, it's not working. That's why I kind of wanted it to be two statuses. Like, it applies one status, and that one status is where it's getting the polymorph. But I think personally, I think the fix is one spell, two statuses. I think a spell can do that. I think that the spell can have two statuses. That's what I initially thought would be the great way to do it. But right now, there's Divine Blight. It's there. It's definitely there, and it's just not our ally. So it's able to do things. You just have to, like I said, train it. If it can apply the domination and apply the vine blight, or turn an enemy into a plant creature type thing. It just takes a little bit of time in training the AI to learn how to bridge that gap. And that's just one thing I thought of tonight, even when doing this. So I'll probably try that with my own goblin spell, and because I normally just had to just I tried to make it as one status where they polymorphed and they're dominated, but maybe trying two statuses and a polymorph status and a domination status, they can work, separately together. But that's pretty much it for this tutorial. It's already been pretty long, and I don't want to make this a very I tried my best not to make this a very long tutorial, but like it's just it takes time with getting the AI to do everything right. I feel like a lot of the errors that I was facing in the beginning, that I was having to like repeat steps and causing my game to crash, were the fact is I didn't have other mods in the game that made custom mods and things like that work in BG3, like the community libraries and the compatibility frameworks. So if I had those in and then I was making the mod, I feel like it probably would have worked sooner and easier, but that's just user error. So don't hold that against the AI, but if you found this tutorial useful and you want to give coding a try with AI, this is your sign to go ahead and try it out. You're able to, like I said, do things, and I've showed here you're able to at least make a subclass and make a few spells. I've showed with my previous video another subclass that I made that was successful, and I'm very happy with it. I totally felt like I was playing a full X-Men playthrough. I'm in Act 3, but I'm almost done, and it just was amazing. And so don't give it too much, what's the word I'm looking for? Don't give it too much pressure. Like it's like vibe coding. You're vibe coding, you're typing things in, and the AI is doing its work to make your intentions come true. So if you like this video, I appreciate you sticking all the way through and watching the full tutorial. I don't make content like this really, so I know it may be all over the place and it's probably not the best laid out, but it does, I feel like, give you the tools needed to go ahead and make a mod using AI. And once again, I use VScode, and go get it modding, guys.